At the end of the day...
Just be a decent person and condemn it.
Joe what? At the end of the day, we're the only political party that's putting real people, not
Scummy
politicians...
people. Don't you dare do a disservice to working class people, suggesting that Robert... Me too. Don't you dare suggest that working class people hold beliefs like Robert Kenyon. It's an insult to them.
He's apologised for those, and he's made those mistakes years ago.
A teenage Reform UK council leader, a left-leaning podcast host, and a debate about Britain's past, present, and future. George Finch is 18 years old and leads 2 councils. He says schools only teach bad things about the British Empire. He wants to teach the good stuff: democracy, infrastructure, religion. Marina Purkiss has a different view. She says the empire involved rape, pillage, and theft. And she accuses George of wanting to whitewash history. But it doesn't stop there. George removed the LGBT Progress Pride flag from a council building. Only British flags allowed now. He also says Black History Month shouldn't be promoted by taxpayers. Marina's response: you want to cancel every history that isn't about you. And then there's Robert Kenyon, Reform UK's candidate for the Makerfield by-election. Marina calls him a self-admitted sexist. Women can't drive, he says. British women walk around with their bellies out. Abortion as contraception. George says Kenyon has apologised. He's a changed man. Is he? Marina doesn't think so. And neither should you. Watch to the end and decide who's defending Britain and who's defending bigotry.
Social media. A teenager can understand the problems that older people face. So particularly pensioners who are relying on the council for their care.
Yeah, I think, look, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And for me, I understand what the older generation are facing, because I live in a town where the population's a lot older, and I have to, they're my residents as well, and I understand what young people are facing on a day-to-day basis. You can't ignore both generations. You have to work with them all, and that's how you effectively run a council. You have to look after everyone.
You've been described as the most powerful teenager in Britain. Have you had a job before?
Yes, so I worked in construction for a while just before I got into politics. Working in new build houses, developing them. But and then I went to university, and I saw that I wanted to be a history teacher at the end of the day, but the curriculum and the way history was being taught, I just couldn't stand any longer. So I thought, well, let's change that. So I stood for Reform UK and won last year.
To change history teaching in Warwickshire?
Well, you can't do that on the county council, but there's ways you can work with the education system.
Yeah. What was your argument with the history teacher? So,
for me, I was sat in the classes and in A levels and so on, and what I saw was just a complete and utter dishonesty when it was teaching about our history, especially about our monarchs, our empire. Everything was bad. We did nothing good in the world ever. And I was sat there thinking, well, no, there are some good things that we've done, some really good things. There has been some bad things that the country have done, and as an empire we've done, but we've learnt from those mistakes and we move on. But for some reason, they just get so caught up on the fact that we're just a bad nation, and that's not what I can sit around and listen to. So I joined Reform UK.
Quite unusual hearing a teenager say things like this, Marina. It's quite... You think it's refreshing?
I think it's commendable that you're so interested in politics and have done, got to where you've got to at your age. I think it's a shame that it sounds like your motivation, though. Look, the British Empire, of course, it achieved wonderful things for Britain, but you cannot get away from the fact that they went over to other countries, raped, pillaged, stole. Now, Reform's whole shtick is anti-immigration. The British Empire did that on steroids.
Well, look, again, you're getting it wrong, and that's the type of stuff that's being taught in schools.
Did it not happen?
What, the British Empire?
Was there or was there not? Stealing of resources, raping, pillaging,
terrible things happen.
Colonising. So what?
Terrible things happen.
Do you just want us to whitewash it? Do you know
what we did do? We installed democracy, religion, big infrastructure, trains,
hang on. So excuse
factories.
me.
We built these countries.
If the Muslims decided to come over here and say, do you know what? We'll install our democracy. Does that work for you?
No. What? This is exactly the arguments they're using in our schools, and it's indoctrinating our children. We have to be promoting the good stuff we've done. Yes, every empire have done bad things,
George,
but we need to promote the good.
We can talk about both.
Okay.
What we can't do is whitewash.
All right, let's talk about some of the things you've done while you've been council leader. Your first decision, I think, was to take down an LGBT pride flag and you say from now on we only use British flags. Did you get support for that?
Yes, we got support for that, and that's what happened as a result of that. Yes, there were some people that didn't like that fact, but it's pretty simple. The only flags that should be raised on public buildings and state buildings is the county flag, the St George's flag and the Union flag.
But what about showing support? For example, when France had a terrorist attack, we put the French flag above the Wembley Stadium.
Look,
you don't like that?
I ain't got a problem with those things. You're standing in solidarity with with things when those incidents happen straight away. I ain't got a problem with that. And look, at the end of the day, it wasn't just about a flag or a bit of fabric. It was more about where does the power delegate to and who is in charge of that. And that's been sorted now, and that was a year ago. But yeah, look, if incidents happen, we'll look at that on a basis.
Marina, what do you think?
Hide from it.
Decision.
Why? So I just think it's weird that you got to this position. You can do so much good for the people, and that's what you chose to focus on.
Oh no, we've done a lot more than that. That's just one little thing.
But why? Say, for example, the LGBT flag, the rainbow flag. Why does it offend you so much? You have to remove it.
Let's be actually correct here. It wasn't the pride flag. It was the Progress pride flag. It didn't have planning permission on the building anyway. That was the first problem, which many people don't know about. But it didn't have planning permission,
well,
so it
shouldn't have been an excuse a little bit.
No. It's not just that. But the main problem was that on a government building, we want to represent 630,000 people that are in Warwickshire, and everyone can be represented by those three flags: the St George's, the Union, and the county.
The reason it feels disingenuous is because your track record. You're a person who wants to cancel Black History Month.
I think that it shouldn't be promoted or supported by the council and local taxpayers. No, you should be supporting history no matter what. You should be supporting history no matter what.
Hang on,
it doesn't matter. You don't get certain history months for everyone else.
What I'm getting now is you want to essentially choose the bits of history that are taught, which is that Britain is great and empire is great, and actually not teach the bits of history that you don't like, Black History Month, and also the communities that aren't, I don't know, core to you, important to you, gay pride, whatever. All of those things, scrap. Only talk about the stuff that is interesting to me and my values.
Let me ask you an important question about something else. We were told reform councils would take down council tax. You put yours up. I can't understand that. I just can't.
Yeah.
It's like that famous thing on social media. You had one job.
So I'll explain. So I was the associate chairman for Reform UK in Warwickshire, where I got worked with a team to get the councillors elected. And I looked at the leaflets, I produced the leaflets and wrote what was on them. And we put fiscal responsibility because we knew that the financial situation for the council...
But council tax cuts you were promising.
However, no, we didn't promise that in Warwickshire, and we didn't. I was in charge of the leaflet distributions, and that was not what we promised, and it was not said on the doorstep.
But it was said nationally.
Well, that's national. And
did you tell people what they're saying nationally is wrong?
And look, what we've done on Warwickshire County Council, we're the only political party on Warwickshire County Council that had the lowest rise in council tax. We wanted only 3.8%. The Tories wanted 4.89%. The Lib Dems, the Greens, the Labour wanted the maximum they could just to spend more taxpayers' money. We said, no, we'll look between the four walls of the council and spend our money wisely. However, the service pressures are increasing. Home to school transport, £50 million. The SEND deficit, 150 million and rising. We cannot afford it. It's a national issue, I accept.
You should have probably looked at that and campaigned on, we will raise your council tax if you elect us, not just said, oh, blimey, that's a bit of a shock.
Have you not seen Shropshire increasing council tax to 10%, Lib Dem?
But you promised us you
would. We didn't.
You promised.
We didn't. We said we would cut tax on a national level. That's our goal, is to make sure taxes are as low as possible.
OK.
That's what we're trying to do.
I must ask you about the Makerfield by-election as well, because this is now really fascinating, massive by-election. Robert Kenyon is your candidate. Do you think he's going to win?
I'm very... I'm going up Saturday. This is the first time I've been up, and I'll go up Saturday. So I'll look at the data myself. But it's looking really promising for us.
Do you want him in
Makerfield.
Parliament? Do you want Robert Kenyon in Parliament?
A Reform UK Member of Parliament that can stop Andy Burnham.
Do you want him? No. Please be specific. I want people to know. Do you want him? Because I am appalled by this man. He is a man who has abused. He's a self-admitted sexist. He says women can't drive. I'd love to test him on parallel parking, by the way. Women can't drive. He says he slates British women. Please listen. He slates British women. He slates you, saying you walk around with your bellies out, pushing your prams. But if it was a European, you would take a bazooka to get me off them. He is sick. He is a sexist. He says women use abortions as a form of contraception.
George, you can defend him.
This is the person reform will put into government and shape legislation.
Okay.
Do you understand what's at risk?
Look. Robert's made comments previously and he's apologised for them. And he said, look, at the end of the day...
Just be a decent person and condemn it.
Joe, what? At the end of the day, we're the only political party that's putting real people, not
Scummy
politicians...
people. Don't you dare do a disservice to working class people, suggesting that Robert... Me too. Don't you dare suggest that working class people hold beliefs like Robert Kenyon. It's an insult to them.
He's apologised for those, and he's made those mistakes years ago. He's apologised for them. People,
and he's a changed man, is he?
You can change.
I can see we've got a lot to talk about here.
So where do we land after this debate? George Finch is young. He's ambitious. He's risen quickly in politics. And that's genuinely impressive on paper. But Marina Purkiss is right about almost everything that actually matters. On history, George doesn't want balance. He wants whitewashing. The British Empire did terrible things. Teaching that isn't anti-British. It's honest. Pretending it didn't happen is propaganda. Marina's question about Muslims installing their democracy exposed his double standard completely. On the LGBT flag, George's planning permission excuse was weak. Marina saw right through it. He removed the flag because he doesn't like what it represents. And his refusal to fund Black History Month proves the same point. He only wants to celebrate history that looks like him. And on Robert Kenyon, George's defense is embarrassing. He apologized. He's changed. Marina read the quotes aloud. Women can't drive. Abortion as contraception. British mothers with their bellies out. This isn't a changed man. This is a sexist man who got caught. Reform UK wants to be taken seriously as a political party. But they keep backing candidates like Kenyon. They keep defending the indefensible. And that tells you everything you need to know about their values. Marina Purkiss won this debate. Not because she was louder. Because she had facts, moral clarity, and the courage to say what everyone else was thinking. George Finch defended a sexist. Marina exposed him. What do you think? Is Robert Kenyon fit for Parliament? Thanks for watching. Hit like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. See you in the next one.